Okay, so let's continue with the bodice. That is maybe a little harder because there is two darts that you could transfer together or individually. I prepared three little pivoting where you might want to transfer both darts together into one dart. It's the same idea that I was telling you in the skirt. You just have to decide where you want the dart. There's no rule about it. It's all up to you, and it's also a matter of style. If you don't want the dart to show, the best thing to do would be to put it on the side seam over here because of the 3D effect. You're not going to see it that much, but you're going to keep the fit. So although one of the basic one is to transfer on the side seam. So this is my position where I want only one dart. Okay, so you put your pins at the apex. What you have to remember is you never trace twice over the same contour line. Okay, so you start somewhere and you never go over twice. So I'm starting where I want my dart and I'm tracing this time towards the bottom. It would be good also to go the other way around, same thing. So I'm tracing until the dart. I have to stop and close the dart because I don't need it anymore. And I continue tracing all the way to the second dart. I don't want that dart either. I want only one on the side seam. So I'm closing it. And I continue tracing until the mark I did at the beginning. So now my block has exactly the same fit, but with only one dart at the side seam. You could close and get your jog, or decide to empty your dart also because it's becoming quite big. If you do want the jog and sew it like a real dart, you want to send it towards the bottom. So you fold the bottom first and bring the bottom over the top line and get your jog. So this is one of the basic pivoting. Okay, this time I'm going to send the dart. So I did this one first. I'm doing this one now. I'm going to send the dart, both of them, towards the center front neckline. So it really gives a different look to your bodice. So I'm going to send it right here. So just like the skirt, I'm going to start tracing right at the corner and go around. I get to the dart, I close it, continue tracing until the shoulder dart, and I close it also and continue tracing until my center front neck point. Here you go. This time, just like for the skirt, you cannot close it towards the center front. So or you empty the dart and put seam allowance, or you close it towards the side seam, the back of the dart. So let's do a third one. Third style, I'm going to do also like the skirt. I'm going to send the dart, both of them, towards the side seam waist point. So just make it clear where you're starting, because that's exactly the same place you're going to finish. Yips. Okay, so I'm starting at the side seam waist point and I'm going around until the shoulder dart, closing the shoulder dart and go all the way to the waist dart. Then you close the waist dart and trace until your reference. Use the corner, but in fact you could use any point you want around your block. So these are the basic or the most simple bodice pivoting you could do. Okay, so the next one is going to be pivoting again, but I'll just show you a different area for sure, and also how you could fix a pattern to make it gathers instead of a dart. So it's the same thing for the pivoting. For my first style here, I want to transfer the dart into gathered in the neckline. So what you're going to do is, you could find, let's say, the middle of the neckline by highs for sure, because it's not a style line, and start tracing. Reach the dart, you close the dart, and trace all the way to the other dart. Close that dart also, and trace until middle of the neckline. So if you notice, I never go twice over the same line. So that's what you get. But this time, and my pivot was right here. This time, no need of a pivot, no need of a jog. You just want to make it gathered. Usually you're going to want to stop the gather a little bit before the shoulder, so it's not too thick in the seam allowance, but it could go all the way to the center front. So the gather will be from this notch that I'll put. And usually what you do is you find the middle point between your two opening points. So you find the middle point, and you could all do it by highs. And you're going to connect the notch to the center front. So what it's going to do is going to add a little bit on one side and remove a little bit on the other side. Make your line more even. So you remember, you divide the two opening point, you find the middle, and you have to start at the notch, pass by the middle point, and go to knotting at center front. So here's a gather. If you want to transfer your dart on the side seam and make it gathered, something that you see quite often also, you decide maybe a reference mark on your side seam, and you start tracing from there. Pivot, trace all around, and close. The idea is just to show you difference between the shape of the pattern. So my pivot was over here. I don't want dart, I want gather this time. I'm going to say start the gather a little bit below the armhole and a little bit before the waist, so you don't make a thick seam allowance. So same thing, I'm going to find the middle, and from the notch, passing by the middle point, going all the way down to my bottom notch. So I went down a little bit from the original line, but up a little bit on this one, and I passed by the middle point. These are going to give you gather on the side seam. With any style line, any shape of style line, if you pass by the apex, if you know pivoting, you could create your pattern piece right away from the block. But this one is symmetrical, so I'll do this one here with a square, a little narrower at the bottom, style line. So and you see that it's pretty straight, so it is a straight line here, and it goes narrower at the bottom. So what you need is the reference of the line. So square with center front touching the apex. So this is going to be your starting point. So I'll start by tracing the small piece, and I'm going to use the side of the dart to do my piece. So in fact the pattern piece is already done, it's there. I just have to trace it. So from the notch to my style line, and for sure don't forget the pivot. Tracing, remember my center front was on fold, and of course you need your seam allowance. Waist, dart side, it's not a dart anymore, and my style line. Now for the big part, for the big part you're going to need some pivoting because there is no more dart. There's a seam now. So I'm starting to trace same place at my style line cut, and I'm going to trace until the shoulder dart. I said there's going to be pivoting, so you need to put pins at the pivot. So I'm tracing from style line to the shoulder notch, close the dart, the shoulder dart, and I'm tracing all the way to the other side of the dart. I have nothing else to trace because if you remember, this part is already over here, so I'm done. Remove the pin and trace the line. Add your seam allowance all around and your pattern is done. So as soon as you have a style line that passed by the apex, you could eliminate all darts. They just go into the style line. And I'll do a last one. Hope you understood a little better the pivoting. So I'm going to do this one here. It looks like an insert, and it's an armhole insert, but passing by the apex. So I could use the same little reference that I had from one of my other pivoting, if you see. So that would be my small piece. Pattern is already there. So there's no pivoting to do here for the small piece. So I'm just tracing from the mark to the first side of the shoulder dart, and I mark my pivot. And you put your seam allowance all around for sure, everywhere. Okay, so for the second part, the center front part of this style, I'm gonna start at the same place that I start for the first piece. I'm gonna trace still the notch of the dart, close the dart, continue tracing all the way to the first side of the dart. I'm gonna stop there because the other side of the dart is already done on my small piece. So I just have to trace and put my seam allowance. All around, of course. So this one is unfold. So hope you enjoy, practice a lot, and I'll see you next time.